Hello everyone, this is Apple Story Channel, and today I'm going to take you on a journey through some of the most unbelievable, yet absolutely real, facts about the human body compared to other living creatures. These are the kinds of truths that make you question everything you thought you knew about life itself. Let's start with your own heart. It's about the size of your fist, but if you put it under enough pressure, it can squirt blood up to 9 meters away. Sounds extreme, right? Now compare that to a tiny blue whale's heart, except tiny is the wrong word. A blue whale's heart can weigh as much as a small car, and its heartbeat can be heard from more than 3 kilometers away. Imagine your heartbeat being audible across an entire neighborhood. Humans are proud of their brains, and for good reason. Your brain generates enough electricity to power a small light bulb about 20 watts while you're awake. But here's the twist, an elephant's brain is 3 times heavier than yours, yet they use it to remember watering holes across decades and communicate through low-frequency sounds that can travel through the ground for miles. Here's one that will make you stop and think about your own limits. Humans can survive without food for over 3 weeks if necessary, but without water, most will only last 3 to 5 days. Now consider the kangaroo rat. It can go its entire life without drinking a single drop of water, getting all it needs from the seeds it eats. Meanwhile, camels, the stereotypical desert survivors, can drink up to 200 liters in just 3 minutes, and their bodies are designed to keep every drop for days on end. Your bones are another hidden marvel. Pound for pound, human bone is stronger than steel. But if you think that's impressive, meet the mantis shrimp. Its limbs can punch so fast, over 50 miles per hour, that they boil the water around them, creating shockwaves capable of shattering aquarium glass. Let's talk about eyes. You can see about 7 million different colors, and your eyes can detect a candle flame from almost 50 kilometers away in complete darkness under the right conditions. But compared to the mantis shrimp again, you're basically colorblind. They have up to 16 types of color receptors, we only have 3, and they can see ultraviolet, infrared, and polarized light, a visual spectrum we can't even imagine. And here's something about your body that's as beautiful as it is strange, you are literally made of stardust. Almost every atom in your body was forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. That's not poetic exaggeration, it's astrophysical fact. But you're also home to more non-human cells than human ones. Your body is an ecosystem, carrying around trillions of bacteria, most of which are essential for your survival. Without them, you wouldn't digest food, heal properly, or even think clearly. You might be wondering how you compare to the animal kingdom in terms of raw endurance. Humans are actually among the best long-distance runners on Earth, not because we're fast, but because we can sweat. Sweating allows us to regulate our temperature better than most mammals, letting us literally outrun prey over hours until it collapses from heat exhaustion. Try doing that against a cheetah, you'll never win in a sprint, but in the long game, you could. And since we're talking about strange abilities, did you know you produce about 1 liter of saliva every day, which over your lifetime is enough to fill 2 swimming pools? Compare that to snakes, whose venom glands produce complex chemical cocktails so potent they can shut down the nervous system of prey in seconds. The more you learn, the stranger the human body becomes, and yet, in the vast library of life on Earth, it's just one variation among billions of designs nature has experimented with. Your body might seem ordinary to you, but compared to other creatures, it's both fragile and astonishingly capable, shaped by millions of years of evolution to be exactly what it needs to be to survive. Right, let's push further into the strange side of reality. This is Apple Story Channel, and if you thought the last set of facts was wild, wait until you hear these. Your stomach gets a completely new lining every 3 to 4 days. Why? Because the acid inside you is strong enough to dissolve razor blades, literally. But don't go testing that, the stomach is built to handle itself, not metal experiments. Compare that to vultures, whose stomach acid is so corrosive it can dissolve deadly bacteria like anthrax without harming them. They're nature's cleanup crew, recycling what would kill almost anything else. Speaking of extremes, your skin is constantly shedding about 500 million skin cells every single day. Over your lifetime, you'll lose close to 18 kilograms of skin. It sounds strange, but here's the kicker, much of the dust in your house is actually made of skin particles. Now, compare that to a gecko, which can shed not only its skin but its tail in a matter of seconds, leaving predators chasing a wriggling distraction while it escapes. Let's talk about speed. The fastest nerve signal in your body travels at about 390 kilometers per hour. That's impressive, but it's nothing compared to the trapjaw ant, whose jaw snaps shut at speeds of up to 230 kilometers per hour in less than 0.000015 seconds. It's so powerful that the ant can use the recoil from its own jaw to launch itself away from danger. Now here's something almost nobody believes the first time they hear it: your body has enough iron in it to forge a small nail. But the bombardier beetle has its own kind of internal forge. When threatened, it mixes chemicals in its abdomen to create a boiling, explosive spray that can burn the skin of predators. It's like carrying a tiny chemical weapon built right into its body. And here's a twist about your senses: your nose can detect about 1 trillion different scents. That's a huge number, but some animals make you look like an amateur. A bloodhound's sense of smell is so powerful it can track a trail over 300 hours old and follow it across more than 200 kilometers. Sharks take it further: they can smell a drop of blood in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Even your hair has secrets. Once it leaves your scalp, it's technically dead tissue, but it's incredibly durable, so much so that it can survive centuries without decomposing under the right conditions. That's why archaeologists often find hair preserved long after bones have turned to dust. But in the natural world, the hair of polar bears is actually transparent, not white. The white we see is just light scattering inside those hollow strands, a brilliant trick of nature for camouflage. And let's not forget your reflexes. The blink of an eye takes about 300 to 400 milliseconds, but the mantis shrimp, yes, them again, can strike so quickly it completes the move in less than 3 milliseconds. If your punch worked like that, it would break the sound barrier. Every fact like this makes you realize humans are not the strongest, fastest, or most extreme creatures. But we are one of the most adaptable, and in nature, adaptability often wins the game. If you're still with me, I've got facts coming up that will make even these sound tame. Do you want me to keep going into the most extreme and shocking ones? This is Apple Story Channel, and now we're diving into the kind of facts that make you look at your own body like it's from another planet. Let's start with your blood. If you laid out all the blood vessels in your body end to end, they would stretch over 96,000 kilometers. That's enough to wrap around the Earth more than twice. Yet, in comparison, the humble octopus has 3 hearts pumping copper-based blue blood, which works better than ours in cold, low-oxygen environments. If one heart stops, the others keep working, and they can even control blood flow to different parts of their body independently. Speaking of independence, you may think you're in control of your body, but about 80% of your nervous system operates without conscious thought, regulating your heartbeat, digestion, breathing. That's nothing compared to the sea cucumber, which can eject its own internal organs when threatened and later regrow them completely. Imagine resetting your body like that. Your muscles are also underrated. The strongest muscle by size is the masseter, the jaw muscle, which can close with a force of up to 90 kilograms on your molars. But that's still far behind the bite of a saltwater crocodile, which can clamp down with over 1,700 kilograms of force, enough to crush bone like it's chalk. Now here's something you probably won't believe at first: your body emits light. It's called biophoton emission, ultra-weak light given off by chemical reactions inside your cells. It's far too faint for our eyes to detect, but it's there, all the time. And you're not alone. Fireflies, deep-sea fish, and certain fungi have mastered this glow for communication, hunting, or defense. Your lungs, if flattened out, could cover the area of a tennis court. But the animal kingdom always has a trump card. The bar-headed goose can fly over the Himalayas at altitudes where oxygen levels are a third of what we breathe, thanks to a uniquely efficient lung system. Here's a fact about regeneration. Humans can heal wounds, but we can't regrow lost limbs. Meanwhile, axolotls, those strange salamanders, can regrow entire limbs, spinal cords, and even parts of their brain without scarring. Scientists are studying them in hopes of unlocking similar abilities in us one day. And in the endurance department, here's a surprise: your heart will beat about 2.5 billion times in your lifetime. But a hummingbird's heart? It can beat over 1,200 times per minute, and yet, despite such extreme speeds, it can live for years thanks to a specialized metabolism. The more you compare humans to other life forms, the more it feels like we're just one unique, but not ultimate, design among millions of equally strange blueprints. If you're ready, the next set of facts will get so bizarre that they start to feel like science fiction, except they're not. Let's talk about strength at the smallest scale. Your DNA, if stretched out, would measure about 2 meters in every single cell. If you took all the DNA from every cell in your body and lined it up, it would stretch from Earth to the Sun and back more than 600 times. But the water bear or tardigrade takes small but mighty to another level. It can survive boiling, freezing, radiation, the vacuum of space, and decades without water. Humans need oxygen, warmth, and a constant water supply. Tardigrades laugh at those rules. Your brain, as amazing as it is, runs on the same amount of energy as a dim light bulb. Yet it can process more information in a second than any supercomputer on Earth. Still, compared to a cuttlefish's brain-to-body ratio, we're not the only clever ones. Cuttlefish can change color, texture, and even patterns on their skin in under a second, all while solving complex problems and remembering them for months. Now, here's a fact that might make you uncomfortable. About 20% of the oxygen you breathe is used by your brain alone. In contrast, Antarctic icefish live without hemoglobin entirely, meaning their blood is nearly transparent. They've evolved to thrive in oxygen-rich, freezing waters without the very molecule we depend on for life. Your sense of taste is impressive, with about 10,000 taste buds that regenerate every 10 to 14 days. But catfish? They have taste buds all over their bodies, some species with more than 175,000 of them, letting them taste their surroundings just by swimming through the water. Now, about your reflexes. The human body can detect and react to a visual threat in roughly 200 milliseconds. That's good, but the pistol shrimp can snap its claw so fast it creates a bubble hotter than the surface of the sun for a fraction of a second, stunning or killing prey instantly. That's not a metaphor, we're talking thousands of degrees Celsius in an instant. And your hearing? You can detect frequencies between about 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz. That's respectable, but elephants communicate using infrasound, sound waves so low in frequency you can't hear them, but they can travel over 10 kilometers through the ground and air. On the opposite end, bats can hear up to 120,000 Hz, letting them navigate complete darkness with echolocation. One more, your lifespan might average around 70 to 80 years, but some animals stretch time in ways we can't imagine. The Greenland shark can live for over 400 years, meaning some alive today were already swimming when the United States was founded. If you think this is as strange as it gets, you're wrong, because the next round of facts will bend your idea of what life can even be. Let's begin with heat. The highest body temperature ever recorded in a living human who survived was 46.5 degrees Celsius, and even that was life-threatening. Meanwhile, certain bacteria like Pyrolobus fumarii can live and thrive in temperatures of 113 degrees Celsius, hotter than boiling water. If you tried to touch that environment, you wouldn't even get the chance to feel pain before your cells began to break down. Your bones are strong, but they're not unbreakable. The wood frog doesn't even bother avoiding fatal conditions. It can literally freeze solid in winter, heart stopped, no breathing, ice in its veins. When spring comes, it thaws and hops away as if nothing happened. Humans can't survive that. Even minutes without blood flow to the brain can be fatal. Your eyes are a marvel, but they only see a narrow slice of reality, the visible spectrum. Bees can see ultraviolet light, snakes can detect infrared heat signatures, and the mantis shrimp, yes, them again, sees polarized light, ultraviolet, and more, effectively viewing a reality we're completely blind to. If you could see what they see, the world would look like an alien planet. Your blood is red because of iron and hemoglobin, but octopus and horseshoe crab blood is blue due to copper-based hemocyanin, which works better in cold, low-oxygen waters. And speaking of horseshoe crabs, their blood is so sensitive to bacterial toxins that it's used in the medical industry to test every drug and surgical instrument you've ever encountered, meaning your life has likely been saved by an animal older than the dinosaurs. Your breathing is automatic, but certain marine mammals, like sperm whales, can hold their breath for over 90 minutes while diving to depths of more than 2,000 meters. The pressure down there would crush a human chest instantly, yet their bodies collapse their lungs on purpose to avoid damage. Your skin protects you, but it's nothing compared to the immortal jellyfish, Turritopsis dohrnii. When injured or under stress, it can revert its cells back to an earlier stage of life, essentially starting over. In theory, it can do this forever, making death optional, at least biologically. And here's one that's almost unsettling: your body's speed limit for healing is slow because it must balance regeneration with cancer prevention. But the planarian flatworm doesn't seem to have that problem. Cut it into pieces, and each piece can regrow into a full new worm, complete with a brain. Every time we compare ourselves to these extremes, it becomes clear, humans aren't built to be the toughest, fastest, or longest living. We're built to think, adapt, and manipulate our environment instead, and maybe that's our real superpower. But the next set of facts will take us into abilities so strange, they almost feel like rules from a completely different game of life. Let's talk about hunger. A healthy human can survive around 3 to 4 weeks without food, but the African lungfish can go without eating for up to 3 years by burying itself in mud and slowing its metabolism to a near standstill. While you'd waste away, it's just waiting for the right season to wake up and swim off like nothing happened. Your blood pressure might spike during stress, but the giraffe has a resting blood pressure nearly twice as high as a human's just to pump blood up its 2-meter-long neck. If you had that pressure, your blood vessels would rupture, yet giraffes avoid brain damage with special valves and elastic vessel walls that regulate the flow. You blink to protect your eyes and keep them moist, but the archerfish protects its meals in a stranger way. It spits jets of water with sniper precision, knocking insects off branches from over 2 meters away. It even compensates for the way light bends in water to hit its target dead on. Your muscles are strong enough to lift several times your body weight, but the rhinoceros beetle can lift over 850 times its own weight. For a human, that's like picking up a fully loaded passenger jet. And if we're talking raw force, the leafcutter ant can carry pieces of leaves up to 50 times its weight while walking upside down. Your hearing helps you survive, but the greater wax moth takes it to a level that sounds fictional. It has the most sensitive hearing in the animal kingdom, detecting frequencies up to 300,000 Hz. For perspective, that's 15 times higher than you could ever hear, and even bats don't get close. Your brain stores vast amounts of information, but it isn't endless. The Clark's nutcracker bird, on the other hand, can bury up to 30,000 seeds in thousands of different hiding places and remember every single location months later, even under deep snow. And here's a biological twist: you can't live without oxygen, but the common eastern painted turtle can survive months without breathing by absorbing oxygen through the lining of its throat and even its cloaca, yes, essentially breathing through its backside. Humans are smart, adaptable, and capable of changing the world. But these creatures show us that the limits we think are absolute are actually just boundaries for our species, not for life itself. And I have to warn you, the next set of facts will be the kind that make you seriously question whether we've truly explored the limits of biology at all. Let's start with time. The average human lifespan is around 70 to 80 years, but there's a species of quahog clam, nicknamed Ming, that lived to be 507 years old. That clam was already over 100 years old when Columbus set sail for the Americas. And then there's the glass sponge, found in the deep ocean, that can live for more than 10,000 years, essentially making our entire human history just a brief moment in its life. You might think you have a good immune system, able to fight off most bacteria and viruses you encounter. But crocodiles? Their blood is loaded with powerful antimicrobial peptides that can kill deadly pathogens within minutes. Scientists are studying them in hopes of creating new superantibiotics for humans. Humans can see clearly underwater only with goggles, but the four-eyed fish, Anableps, has eyes split into two parts, allowing it to see above and below the water surface at the same time. And the mantis shrimp's eyes, we keep coming back to them for a reason, can move independently and even perceive depth with just one eye, a feat we can't do at all. You breathe using lungs, but earthworms breathe entirely through their skin. And then there's the pearlfish, which takes it to a disturbing extreme by living inside the body of sea cucumbers, entering through the anus and using its host as both shelter and protection from predators. Your voice is limited by the shape of your vocal cords, but the lyrebird can mimic chainsaws, camera shutters, and dozens of other bird species with near-perfect accuracy. In the ocean, humpback whales sing songs that can last up to 20 minutes, and the sound can travel hundreds of kilometers underwater. And here's something about your reflexes: your fastest reaction still happens in tenths of a second. But the trapjaw ant's defensive launch is so quick it happens in just 0.06 milliseconds. That's about 2,500 times faster than a blink. Finally, let's talk about survival in extremes. Humans can handle a certain range of temperatures before our organs fail. But there's a type of microscopic organism called Deinococcus radiodurans that can survive 1,000 times more radiation than a human, endure complete dehydration, and repair its own DNA even after being shattered into pieces. It doesn't just survive the impossible, it rebuilds itself from it. This is Apple Story Channel, and as we close this journey through the strange extremes of life, there's one truth that ties all of it together: humans are just one design in a vast catalog of biological possibilities. We're not the fastest, the strongest, the oldest, or the most resilient. But what makes us extraordinary isn't brute strength or bizarre adaptations, it's our ability to learn, to imagine, and to use the knowledge of other creatures to change our own destiny. From creatures that can survive boiling heat, to animals that can regrow entire limbs, to life forms that have been alive since before our civilizations existed, nature is full of abilities that feel like science fiction, but are entirely real. They remind us that our limits are not the limits of life itself. And maybe that's the point. We don't need to be indestructible or immortal, because we're the storytellers, the observers, the ones who can gather all these facts and turn them into knowledge. And knowledge, unlike any physical trait, can be shared, multiplied, and passed on beyond a single lifetime. So next time you look in the mirror, remember you are a product of billions of years of evolution, walking in a world where the impossible is already happening, every single day. And the more you learn, the stranger and more beautiful it gets. This has been Apple Story Channel, and until our next story, stay curious.